Welcome to English Podcast Station. Are you learning English? This video is great for you. We will tell a story slowly and clearly. You will hear simple words. This will help you understand better. You can also learn about a famous person. His name is Albert Einstein. His story is interesting. It teaches us important things. Let's start the story. Chapter 1: A Different Kind of Boy. Albert was born a long time ago. He was born in Germany. The year was 1879. He was a quiet baby. Some people thought he was slow. He did not talk much when he was young. His parents were a little worried. Albert was different from other children. He liked to think. He liked to ask questions. Sometimes, his questions were hard to answer. He looked at the world in his own way. School was not easy for Albert. He did not like to learn things by heart. He wanted to understand why things worked. The teachers thought he was not a good student. They said he was disruptive. This means he made trouble in class. But Albert had his own interests. He loved puzzles. He loved to build things. One day, his father gave him a compass. A compass is a tool that shows which way is north. Albert was very curious about it. He wondered why the needle always pointed north. This made him think about forces that you cannot see. He also loved music. He learned to play the violin. Music made him feel happy. It also helped him think in different ways. Albert was a boy who saw the world differently. He did not always fit in. But inside his quiet mind, big ideas were growing. Chapter 2: Not a Great Student. School was a challenge for Albert. He did not enjoy the way they taught. He thought learning should be about understanding. But the school wanted students to remember facts. He did not do well in many subjects. His grades were not good. Some teachers thought he would never be successful. They did not see his special way of thinking. One teacher even told him he would never amount to anything. This means the teacher thought he would not achieve anything important in his life. These words could make someone sad. But Albert did not let them stop him. He liked math and science. These subjects made sense to him. He enjoyed solving problems. He liked to think about how things worked. He would spend hours reading books about science. While other children played games, Albert would be lost in his thoughts. He was curious about the universe. He wondered about stars and planets. He wanted to know the secrets of nature. His family moved to Italy for a while. Albert enjoyed the freedom there. He had more time to think and explore. This time was important for him. He started to develop his own ideas. Even though school was hard, Albert kept learning. He learned in his own way. He showed that being different is not a bad thing. Chapter 3: A New Path. Albert did not finish high school in the usual way. He decided to take a different path. He wanted to go to a special school in Switzerland. This school was called the Swiss Federal Polytechnic. To get into this school, he had to pass an exam. He did well in math and science. But he did not do so well in other subjects. He did not give up. He studied hard and tried again. Finally, he got into the school. This was a big step for him. It was a place where he could learn more about what he loved. At the Polytechnic, Albert was still a bit different. He did not always follow the rules. He liked to think for himself. Some of his teachers still did not understand him. But he also met people who shared his interests. He made friends who liked to talk about science and ideas. This was important for him. He felt like he belonged somewhere. He also met a woman named Mileva Marias. She was also studying physics. They shared ideas and talked for hours. She became a very important person in his life. Albert was finding his own way. He was learning that it was okay to be different. He was starting to use his unique way of thinking in a positive way. Chapter 4: Working and Thinking. After school, it was hard for Albert to find a good job. He worked for a while as a tutor. This means he helped other people learn. But he wanted to do more. Finally, he got a job at a patent office in Switzerland. A patent is a special paper that protects a new invention. Albert's job was to look at ideas for new inventions. This job might sound boring, but for Albert, it was a chance to think. He had to understand how different inventions worked. This helped him to think about science in new ways. In his free time, Albert continued to work on his own ideas. He thought about light and space and time. He asked big questions. He tried to find answers using his own unique way of thinking. He did not have a big laboratory. He did not have lots of fancy equipment. He did his thinking in his mind. He used his imagination. During this time, he wrote some very important papers. These papers changed how scientists understood the world. One of these ideas was called the theory of relativity. This theory talked about space and time being connected. It was a very new and different way of thinking. At the patent office, Albert might have looked like an ordinary worker. But in his mind, he was exploring the universe. He was a genius who was finding his own way to shine. Chapter 5: A World-Changing Idea. One of Albert Einstein's most famous ideas is the theory of relativity. This idea changed how we understand space, time, gravity, and the universe. It was a very big and complicated idea. But some parts of it are easier to understand. One part is the famous equation E equals mc squared. E stands for energy. M stands for mass. Mass is how much stuff something has. C stands for the speed of light. The speed of light is very, very fast. This equation shows that a small amount of mass can be changed into a large amount of energy. This idea has had a big impact on the world. Einstein's theory of relativity also said that time and space are not separate. They are connected. He called this space-time. This was a very new way to think about the universe. People were surprised by these ideas. They were different from what scientists had thought before. At first, it was hard for some people to understand. But as more evidence was found, Einstein's ideas became accepted. He became famous around the world. People started to see him as a genius. It took time for the world to understand his ideas. But Albert's unique way of thinking led to a big breakthrough in science. Chapter 6: Becoming Famous. After his ideas about relativity became known, Albert Einstein became very famous. People all over the world wanted to know about him. Newspapers wrote stories about him. Scientists wanted to meet him. He traveled to different countries to talk about his work. People were amazed by his ideas. They saw him as a very smart and special person. Even though he was famous, Albert remained a simple person. He did not care much about fancy clothes or lots of money. He cared about his work and his ideas. He used his fame to talk about things he believed in. He spoke out for peace in the world. He believed that people should work together. He also continued to think and ask questions. Even though he had already made big discoveries, he did not stop learning. He always wanted to know more. Being famous had its challenges. It meant that Albert had less private time. But he understood that his work could help people understand the universe better. He became a symbol of intelligence and curiosity. People looked up to him. He showed that it is okay to be different and to think in your own way. Chapter 7: A New Home. As time went on, the world changed. There was a lot of trouble in Germany where Albert was born. He was Jewish, and it became dangerous for Jewish people there. Because of this, Albert decided to leave Germany. He moved to the United States. He got a job at a famous university called Princeton University. In America, Albert continued his work. He thought about gravity and the universe. He tried to find a way to explain everything with one big theory. This was a very hard problem, and he worked on it for many years. He also became an American citizen. He felt that the United States offered freedom and opportunity. Albert lived a quiet life in Princeton. He liked to walk and think. He played his violin. He spent time with his friends and family. Even though he was far from his birthplace, he continued to be a global thinker. He cared about the world and the future of humanity. His story shows that sometimes we need to find a new place where we can grow and do our best work. Chapter 8: The Power of Thinking Differently. Albert Einstein died in 1955. He was 76 years old. Even after his death, his ideas continue to be important in science. His work has helped us understand so much about the universe. But his story is also important for another reason. It teaches us about the power of thinking differently. Albert was not a typical student. He did not always fit in. But he had a unique way of looking at the world. He asked questions that others did not ask. He thought in ways that others did not think. This different way of thinking is what led to his big discoveries. If he had tried to be like everyone else, he might not have achieved so much. His story tells us that it is okay to be unique. It is okay to have your own interests and your own way of learning. Sometimes, the people who seem different are the ones who change the world. We can all learn from Albert Einstein. We can try to be more curious. We can ask more questions. We can think for ourselves. We can embrace our own unique way of seeing things. Maybe you also have a special way of thinking. Maybe you see the world in a way that no one else does. Don't be afraid to explore your ideas. You never know what you might discover. Albert Einstein's life shows us that being different can be a strength. It can lead to amazing things. So, embrace your uniqueness and never stop thinking. We hope you enjoyed this story about Albert Einstein. It shows that even if you don't fit in at school, you can still do great things in life. The most important thing is to be curious and to think for yourself. Keep learning English with us. Goodbye for now.